A lot of people grew up loving My Neighbor Totoro as kids. Me, on the other hand, I just watched it for the first time last week. I grew up on Spirited Away, and I didn't watch another Ghibli film until recently. So when Totoro got brought up, all I ever heard was, "Oh, my kids love that movie. It's so cute. It was my favorite when I was little." So I put it off assuming it was just a basic kids movie. But I should know by now, Ghibli movies are never just kids movies. And watching Totoro as an adult, I was completely taken off guard. First off, Totoro is barely in the movie, so being such a franchise mascot was surprising to me. Second, the best character isn't one of the girls, it's not Totoro, it's not the granny, it's definitely not this kid. It's the father. My Neighbor Totoro is a beautiful and charming movie that will warm your heart when you watch it. It follows two sisters, Satsuki and Mei, who move out to the countryside with their father while their mother recovers in the hospital. It's a pretty simple yet surprisingly deep movie. These two little kids are trying to stay positive while dealing with fear, change, and uncertainty they don't fully understand. They explore their new home, find suit spirits, and wander into the forest, where they eventually meet Totoro, a giant gentle forest spirit who becomes a symbol of comfort and imagination during a particularly difficult time in their lives. But behind all the whimsy and fantasy, the movie is really about a family doing their best while living with something heavy. Miyazaki has said that childhood is the happiest time in a person's life, and the films he makes are meant to teach children that it's good to be alive. And when you watch Totoro, you start to see just how much hardship Satsuki and Mei are carrying. Their mom is sick with the fear that she might not get better. They move into a new home, it's old, creaky, and maybe even haunted. They're left with a babysitter they barely know, and that can be a lot for a child to handle. So what does Miyazaki do to let these kids still live happily despite all these challenges? More than introducing Totoro, even though he's the title character, the person who works the hardest to keep peace and joy alive through all the chaos is the father. He's the one holding the emotional weight of the situation, juggling work, parenting, and worry, yet he constantly creates a world where his daughters can still laugh, still explore, and still feel safe. He's the one quietly making the entire story possible. He's not just a background character, he's the best character in the movie. What really surprised me about the father is how steady he is. He never raises his voice, never panics, never lets his daughters feel the weight he's carrying. He cooks, he cleans, he works, he raises them, and he still tries to make the world feel magical. He's going through the exact same fears they are, probably even more so. His wife is sick and can possibly die, leaving him a single father to raise two little girls. But he refuses to let those fears shape the world his kids live in. There's a moment at the beginning of the movie when the kids move into their new house and they're scared that it might be haunted. Most parents would dismiss it or tell them to stop being silly. But he just smiles and says that he always wanted to live in a haunted house when he was a kid. He turns their fear into excitement, transforming something scary into something magical. And then there's the bath scene. The wind is howling, the house is shaking, strange noises echo through the walls. Mei's scared, Satsuki's scared, and honestly, he's probably scared too. But what does he do? He starts laughing. A big, exaggerated laugh. Not to make fun of them, but to show them that fear doesn't have to own you. He takes a situation that could have honestly traumatized the girls into this fun, loving memory. It's one of the most beautiful parenting moments in the entire movie, and it perfectly captures the kind of father he is. Then later, when Mei tells him about Totoro, he responds the same way, with openness, belief, and patience. He doesn't dismiss her, he doesn't laugh, he doesn't tell her to stop making things up. He accepts it fully. Most movies make the parent the skeptical voice of reason, shutting down what the kids are telling them until at the end of the movie, they come to find out that the kid wasn't lying, and there really was something magical there all along. Spoiler alert, My Neighbor Totoro doesn't do that. At the end of the movie, the dad doesn't also see Totoro and say, "Wow kids, it wasn't just your imagination." Because he doesn't need to. He protects her imagination like it's something fragile and important. And that might seem like a small moment, but it says everything about who he is. In a time when their life is filled with uncertainty and anxiety, he chooses to protect the one place where they can find comfort, their sense of wonder. And that's why he stands out so much as an adult viewer. When you're a kid, this movie feels magical because of Totoro. When you're an adult, you realize the magic was the father all along. The quiet, consistent love that makes everything feel safe. When you really look at him, I believe Tatsuo is one of the healthiest portrayals of fatherhood in animation. He listens without judgment, he comforts without dismissing, he guides without controlling. He doesn't force his kids to be strong, he simply gives them a safe place to feel whatever they feel. He treats their imagination as something precious, something worth protecting. You see that the first time he hears about Totoro. Instead of brushing it off, he takes the girls to the camphor tree to pray and give thanks. He joins their world. He shows them that what they believe in matters. And by no means is he perfect. He doesn't hide the fact that he's busy or tired, but he never lets his stress spill onto them. He doesn't hide his responsibility or struggles, but he also never lets those struggles affect his kids. He models emotional regulation, patience, empathy, and presence. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in the small moments that actually matter. Like when he finally comes home late after missing the bus, and Satsuki and Mei have been waiting there for hours. Most parents would be exhausted and irritated, but he playfully carries them in his arms the whole walk home, choosing warmth over frustration. He shows what healthy fatherhood can look like. Not perfect, not flashy, just deeply caring and emotionally available. The kind of fatherhood you don't notice as a kid, but deeply appreciate as an adult. The more you think about it, the more it becomes clear that the father is the emotional foundation of My Neighbor Totoro. He's not magical, he doesn't fly, he doesn't make trees grow instantly, he doesn't summon a cat bus, but he does something more important. He creates a world where his daughters can still feel safe and alive, even when real life is full of fear and uncertainty. He meets every worry with warmth, every question with patience, every moment of instability with steadiness. He's the quiet kind of hero, the kind kids don't notice but adults can look back on and think, he was holding it together. He embodies what Miyazaki believes childhood should be, a time where you feel protected enough to play, curious enough to explore, and loved enough to believe the world is still good. Totoro brings wonder into the girls' lives, but the father makes it possible for that wonder to exist in the first place. The older I get, the more I realize how rare characters like this are. Totoro is iconic, Mei is adorable, Satsuki is strong, but the father is the heart of the movie. And maybe the reason we don't talk about him enough is because the best kind of love often goes unnoticed. He's the kind of character you don't fully appreciate until you've lived enough life to understand him. Until you've felt fear, responsibility, exhaustion, and still tried to create joy for the people you love. He reminds us how important it is to make a child's world feel magical, even when life is difficult behind the scenes. He's a great character who gets overlooked, maybe on purpose, because as kids, we never really notice everything our parents do to make our lives feel safe and happy. So hopefully this video helps you recognize not only what Tatsuo did for Satsuki and Mei, but maybe what your parents did for you too. So yeah, Totoro might be the face of Ghibli and get to be on all the merch, but the father is the one who deserves all the love. He's the best character in the movie. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what your favorite part about My Neighbor Totoro was. Anyways, my name is Sway, I like anime, and peace.